Hello, good evening. I am Karen Morgan with the Lakewood Informer, and I have asked Regina here to talk about Belmar Park. Regina, could you introduce yourself and tell us what you're about?
Hi, I'm Regina Hopkins, and my interest in Belmar Park came about when someone I know saw a flyer in the park, and it was saying, 69 trees in danger, going to be cut down. And I am originally from Lakewood, from Colorado, a few minutes down the road from Belmar, and just am can't stand seeing the fact that we keep losing more and more land every day. We give them a little bit less, a little bit less every single day. The plants, the animals, we humans take over everything. It seems like, in fact, some might say humans are the invasive species. Um, I tend to align with that idea myself, and which is maybe a strong way to word it, but I really am tired of seeing Lakewood get destroyed, in my opinion, take away more of our land, our open spaces, our park. I have seen it over my 38-year history here, how it's like half of what it used to be when I was a kid. Less than half of the open space we still have left from what I when I was little. So I've just seen it change too drastically and not for the better. And this I am just sickened by these developers that want to come in, especially for Belmar Park. Why it's so important is, to me, this piece of land is different than just any other piece of property. The key piece about this piece of land is its placement and its proximity. It's bordering an incredibly important unofficial bird sanctuary where we have over 230 species of birds. And at the council meeting, the last one on Monday, October 23rd, we had a expert wildlife biologist come in and say that Belmar Park in the whole United States had the most variety of species of any park in the United States. And we're going to build something that's 6 stories tall and a 5-story parking garage right next to that. That is not acceptable. And the number one thing, according to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Division, is the number one thing we as humans can do not to impact birds and wildlife habitat is to not build right next to it, which is exactly what this project is doing, and why I intuitively knew that, but now I have the data and I've done research to back that up with those facts I just shared. But intuitively, me and so many people who can just walk in the park know that if you put a footprint building size that is 2 football feet footprint wide right next to that park, it is going to destroy the habitat of the birds. Putting that many people next to this park, imagine the dogs on walks there that run into the bushes and scare the birds. The tall building where birds are, this is in their flightway, they run into buildings. That is one primary reason for bird injury and bird death, is running into windows. Actually, I just learned that, and as I've been helping this cause, it's just all around stupid to be putting this next to that few feet from this bird sanctuary.
You had a large group of people turn out at the last city council meeting, and you said you've done a lot of research and you found this. They have done a lot of, there has been a lot of research and pointing out um, that it sounds like what you're saying, that there is a lot of species, is correct. However, it's not an official bird sanctuary or anything. Do you think that has something to do with the decision?
Well, yeah, it's not an officially designated bird sanctuary. There's no protections around it, right?
Yeah.
not officially protected, and that's a risk. And, you know, could we as a city have done something to preserve this before it got this far? Yeah, a lot. And we're all just finding out about the flaws in these issues coming out now as I'm learning about zoning codes and fee and lieu's and city council now not voting on fee and lieu's when that used to be the protocol, and now it's administrative decision for the city planner department officially to accept a fee and lieu, where it used to be a vote of a council. Like, and that by the way, that very point I just mentioned was up for review before June 2023, and it didn't get reviewed. And that was a point brought up by Anita Springsteen on Monday, October 23rd, and that was a grand slam point to argue. And the city attorney, no one else questioned that point of contention. Like, that was the win. I don't know why we're still debating this. That was already something that has been violated by the city. I don't know why we are still talking about this. That was already the win, in my opinion.
So what I heard you say, if I understand, is that the getting a fee instead of having parkland dedicated is an administrative decision that was made by the city. And we need to review that. We need to review that code.
Supposed to have been reviewed already.
So that
Within
is what
5
you are
years.
saying now. I don't see any problems with that. And the resolution that was proposed would be to say that don't accept that decision, right? Have the developer do the parkland. Do you think, I was confused. Do you think that's what the city lawyer was saying? That
The city,
that would be reversing a decision. It would be going over ordinance. You need to rewrite ordinance. What was he referring to all that time? That the resolution that you asked for was you couldn't do. It was not legal.
well, you know what? It to the city attorney, that would have gotten us into legal trouble. But you know what? All those people on the board, except for Anita, except for Rich, and except for Mary, shot it down because they were more concerned about saving the developer and getting into a possible court issued battle than to protect and preserve and uphold what the residents want, preserve these trees. They spoke with their vote that night, telling us we prioritize developers over getting into a court battle over this, of changing, of stepping in at a moment where they needed to step in critically, time-wise, to do so and say, this is not right. Our city doesn't want this. The council's job was to speak the will of the people. They did not. By far, they did not speak the will of the majority in those council rooms. I was there the last two ones, from the beginning to the very last minute. I was the last one out of the parking lot both nights. And those council people spoke to what they value, and what they say on their websites they value does not match what they show in the council meetings in real life. There's a huge discrepancy. They're being dishonest.
Well, what they said, what I heard them say during the meeting, and I can't believe, good job for everybody staying there for all of that time. That was a long meeting. I didn't make it. Was that the council members, and you said this, they didn't want to proceed with it. They voted against it. But some of them said that they would support this aspect or they would support that aspect. But what I heard overwhelmingly was that they didn't they heard the lawyer say that it was illegal. Do you think that they read the same things that you read in order to make that decision? Was it going from what the legal counsel
They
was there?
they they weren't willing to stick their necks out far enough to change the status quo. And the status quo needed to be changed in this very special circumstance for this particular park in this particular plot of land. The status quo needed to be changed, and we needed to risk that. We needed to have them all be on board and risk that, and they showed how they bowed down to the developers and weren't willing to step out of line. They had to stay in their safe zone. They weren't willing to risk what needed to be risked to save that park and that property from a horror show of a circus act that will become, should that property get developed to the size that it's planned.
So you might have answered my next question. I've seen your evidence, all the research from this group. You have this body of evidence and facts that you have brought. You also are bringing a lot of passion to the issue. You've got lots of people coming and staying all of this time. And so what do you think is winning the argument? Is either one? Which is the bigger factor?
Well, to council and city, their only concern is codes, zoning, laws. The emotional appeal, the emotional impact, the impact to the animals is so far down on the rungs that it doesn't matter. And this is where the status quo needed to be changed, of where we stop prioritizing. We need to have a shift of our priorities in in what we value as a society. And this is too cutting edge for the current council members to even fathom that we're going to stick up as a council, and instead of being for the developers, we're going to stick up for the rights of the voiceless, the trees, the animals, the birds. We need to stick up for them. And in fact, that motion for resolution that was not passed was not asking to go against the law. It's not a either or scenario. Yeah, it might have gotten us into a legal situation, but that's the cost that this is going to be regardless. There's going to be, in my opinion, somehow, in some way, some kind of legal action taken on this by somebody down the line. Whether it's the protesters or the developer, someone's going to take this to a legal point. And either way, we're both going to end up in a legal kind of situation, fighting over these the importance of what we hold near and dear in Lakewood, and these codes that were so poorly designed and not well thought out, and not the fees and lieu's, and all of it was.
You've spent a
Yeah.
lot of time on the issue. Obviously spent a lot of time thinking about it. You spent a lot of time handing out flyers and attending council meetings. Would you say you have spent this much time on like this before on a city issue? Is this your first?
This is the first time I have put this much concerted effort into this condensed period of time. I'm also very much trying to help with the Save Bear Creek Lake Park effort, which is also a big area of concern in Lakewood. That's been an ongoing battle for at least 3 years. I've been trying to support that mission, and I have 3 bumper stickers all over my car saying Save Bear Creek Lake Park on all 3 angles that anyone can see. And I put a considerable amount of time into that too. Environment has always been my biggest passion, and saving and protecting it always. I'm a little bit too passionate to make it my full-time job. I think it'd be too much for me to be doing it all the time. personally
Sure.
overwhelming,
Sure.
but for my passion, it is my number one
No,
passion.
you are talking to a lot of people who share that passion on city council. Like you said, they have all referenced it. These are their priorities. Have you learned anything from this time that you think would be helpful to others, or do you think would make a difference in the future on this effort?
Um, well, I have learned that I was absolutely shocked. I had never been to a city council meeting before the October 9th one, and now I've been to two, and I sat through two full council meetings, and I was literally shocked at the toxicity I saw as that all those current council members sat on that council and shot down the things that the people were begging for, literally begging for and pleading for, and emotional appeals, and bringing their video footage of birds flying amongst the trees, and their posters that their kindergarten classroom drew to bring and show these council members. Like, they do they have no heart? Like, can't they're heartless souls that can't be emotionally, that doesn't bring them to tears. I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked and disturbed that that is our council, and I'm realizing we do need a totally overhauled, new, wipe the slate clean, get us new leadership in there, because that is important. It is critical to absolutely scrutinize these people that we're voting for and vote really wisely on the issues, and don't just read their website. Their websites lie. Like, Wendy Strom says she very much supports environmentalism. I have not found that to be truthful one bit from what I saw both nights in the city council meeting. She says it seems like she's trying to play the political game more than a people service game. This is political, and it's about her getting a position of power, not about the people she's serving. And
Do you
that's what I
think
saw with several of those members on that board.
you said wipe the slate clean and uh, but do you think that given the same people and and perhaps different processes, there would be opportunities to do something different if they, I mean, it didn't really even come to discussion for the group. What they were doing was turning down a resolution, but it didn't go through what should we do kind of thing. Do you think a process change would be more helpful even without the people change? Or do you think it's just all people?
Um, I think that the process could help if it was changed, but I think these people would still vote how they voted. I
What
do.
do you what do you think will happen next? Do you have future plans?
I think, well, I from what I've heard, K-Roy developers have agreed to meet with community members, and I haven't heard one thing about how that's going to happen or who, but I think everyone should be allowed to have a voice and be included, and they should hold a huge meeting with a microphone and a speaker and allow people to come up and have comments go until people are done talking. And I do think that the K-Roy developers should absolutely listen to the full hours and upon hours of our public comments at those council meetings, those heartfelt comments from dozens and dozens of community members that stayed there for hours upon hours, expressing their most heartfelt concerns. That developer needs to hear all that, hands down. Um,
It'll be interesting to
the,
see if they set that meeting. That's what you're saying, that the meeting is not set yet.
no, it's not been set. I have been emailing council members, and Rebecca is one I've emailed. Never, she's never responded to any of my emails. One thing that has really disturbed me about the process with what I heard. I I heard Rebecca Stewart on October 9th say regarding the developer, she said, I've been communicating with this developer for over a year. We've been working really hard. And then I also got a blanket email from K-Roy developers sometime after that meeting saying, great news, we've postponed this development for 2 months. And the other perspective on that was it was to squash our group's momentum and delay us and not get all those people that we had been handing out flyers to come to the city council meeting. So I think it was an effort to squash it. But going back to what Rebecca said, she said, I had been working with this developer for over a year. Me and Wendy Strom have been working very closely for 2 months or 2 weeks, working hard with this developer. And then on October 23rd, the last council meeting, she said, I have never talked to this developer. And my jaw just dropped. I'm like, what? What did I just hear? Like, is like, which is it, Rebecca? Have you or have you not talked to this developer? Have you been in communication with for a year, or have you never talked to them? I was floored beyond belief that I heard that.
I was not
And I
listening that.
asked her about it. I asked her a clarifying email about it and never heard anything back from her. She has never responded to one of my emails.
Well,
So
you'll have to let us know because I did not listen that closely enough to hear that discrepancy, but there may be an explanation yet coming. We'll see. Let us know. Do you have anything that you'd like to leave us with? Thoughts, plans, hopes for the future, contact?
I certainly hope that we're gonna keep working at this hard to keep fighting to save this very critical piece of land, working hard for the animals and plants and trees that need us. And they need a voice. They need to be given equal priority, and their voices are not being heard or considered by the current council, and that is a shame. This is a pivotal point in the Earth's history for climate change issues, and this is one small example of a larger issue, and it's disgusting to me. We're fighting so hard for something so, to me, obviously important. I don't even understand how this is not just already a home run. Like, I don't get why we have to fight this hard for something that is, to me, so obviously critical and important. Martin Luther King Jr. said not all laws are right laws, and this is an example where council needed to step in and say, hey, there's a law here, but it's not a right law. We're going to pass a motion for resolution. And they didn't do that.
Well, I appreciate your time, but wish you all the best and luck, and hope everything can sort out to everybody's satisfaction. For this is a city-wide initiative, and the counselors did express interest and sympathy, and maybe somebody will be able to come up with a way to work it out if there was a legal problem. So I hope. Good luck to you in future, Regina.
Thanks.
Thank you.